What's up? Love from a Leo here, and today I wanted to give you guys a little quick video on what it means when you lose a crystal, or when you misplaced it, or when you can't find it. Nothing is a coincidence. That's what I always say, especially when it comes to spirituality. I truly believe that when it comes to like tapping into your higher self, tapping into your surroundings, realizing that everything is one. Nothing is a coincidence, because everything works together. Everything kind of molds itself into the path that it's supposed to be, all through energy. So whenever you, just like when you go by or you find a crystal, it doesn't really, you don't find it, it finds you. Because I don't know how many times I've been to a crystal store and I'll be like, I'm going to go get this crystal, that's the crystal that I want to go get. And then I get there and I'm looking around and I keep seeing a specific different type of crystal, and I'm like, okay, I need to get that one. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many synchronicities that's happening with that situation. So it's the same thing whenever you can't find it, or if you lose it. Sometimes it's either the crystal, depending on what the crystal is used for, it could be a sign that you are kind of maxed out on that one. Like, maybe it needs, maybe you need to lay off on that, because you're kind of, you know, with the balance, as above so below, there needs to be a balance. So if that's the case, and then it'll pop up whenever your life is supposed to be used with that, or if your life is stable enough to where you don't need it anymore. Because sometimes you get too reliant on crystals, so sometimes the universe will test you and it'll be like, okay, like, if I take this away, will you still have that drive? Have you learned anything from this crystal? Or it could be a situation where you need to look at one of your other crystals, so the one that you always have, or the one that you think you need to focus on, will disappear for a little while. Somehow I don't know how it happens. It's crazy. It's kind of like if you lose your keys and they pop up in the weirdest places, you know, kind of like that sort of thing. But like I said, yes, so if it does disappear, most likely it'll be for a reason. So what I would suggest, what I like to do, is I'll kind of look around a little bit and see, like, if I know I've been in certain areas with it and I'm like, I know I had it. And if I'm pretty sure that I knew that it was over here, or if I feel confident that I just can't find it, then I'll just give it a rest. And in a few days, or sometimes a week, sometimes it takes a while, it'll pop up. You'll pick something up and it'll be under it, or you'll move something and be like, hey, it'll drop to the ground. You know what I mean? So it kind of comes on its own and leave as it pleases. You also want to make sure that you are cleansing your crystals, not necessarily with water all the time, because some crystals do call for different cleaning measures, but I mean cleansing in a sense of charging them. So one, of course, keeping them clean physically, but also you want to make sure that you're charging that energy, depending on what type of crystal it is, with the sun or the moon, depending on what that is, or the ground also. When you do this, you have to remember, crystals, when you have them, you are putting certain energies into them. So when they're keeping them, when you're using them for future references, you can't expect them to be at their max potential if they're still soaked up with all of that energy, you know, that needed to be expelled into the universe again, so it can recycle itself. So whenever you keep them cleansed and charged, it can kind of make sure everything is balanced. You might still have a little bit of energy left in that, that you still need to work with in that crystal, but at the same time, you don't want it to have it always the same energy, and you're on a whole different, you know, time period in your life, and that crystal has the same energy because you don't cleanse it, you don't charge it enough. The best way I like to think of it, as much as you like to use it, make sure that you're releasing that energy into it, the positive, or the neutral energy, so to speak. The moon and the sun, water, dirt, things of that nature. You have to make sure everything is aligned with that crystal, and you must do your research and figure out what it is that your crystal desires or works well with, you know, properties, all of that. And then you can really learn how to maximize potential of using your crystal in general, and it's very beneficial for you in your spiritual journey. Let's see, was there something else I wanted to talk about? I think that's it, you guys. I just wanted to make sure you guys know, if you lose a crystal, sometimes it is for the best, so sometimes just give it a little time. Don't worry about it so much, and then go back and then it'll probably reveal itself to you, or you may just end up finding it whenever, I don't know, like maybe sometimes it doesn't take you finding it in the moment. Like you don't have to freak out unless you left whatever you carry your crystals in, like in a whole different state or something. You know what I mean? Like if you didn't purposely leave it in something, or you know for a fact that you thought you set it down somewhere or this or that, then most likely it's just the universe hiding it from you until it's time for you to use it again, or for it's until it's time for you to put it back with the rest of your crystals. Because sometimes it'll get left in a room somewhere, in a specific room away from your other crystals, and then you'll be like, I don't know where it's at, but it will be in the room that that crystal needs to, you know, let the energy flow and gather in. Does that make sense? So yeah, so just keep that in mind. Crystals kind of do have a mind of their own. Like I know our magic isn't what we see on TV, but there definitely is some magical things that happen in this universe. So yeah, so just be aware. It's not about being afraid. It's literally about being aware, and just knowing that everything happens in time. And sometimes maybe it'll just disappear and you'll never find it because you needed to go out and buy a whole new one because the one you had some weird lingerings of energy that, you know, at the store you touched it and you just didn't realize it, but it had all of those other people's energy in it. And you know what I'm saying? So sometimes there's just always a reason. But yeah, so if you have been experiencing your crystals missing, and that could be the reason why. But yeah, if I'm not your favorite Leo, I hope that I will be one day. And until the next video, I will see you in the next one. Bye.